welcome back. Many people aspire to be a writer, and that is awesome, but most, if not all people, will actually hinder their own progress in some way by making one of the following mistakes. Number one, waiting for inspiration to strike. Now, this is a big thing that I hear from a lot of wannabe writers. I want to write. I feel that I've got a gift with words. My English teacher always said so, but now I'm just waiting for inspiration. Wrong. No. Wrong. You don't wait for inspiration to just come along and slap you upside the face. You do that and you will be waiting forever. You need to inspire yourself. Okay? Now, there are a number of ways to do this, including some of my favourites. Using a writing prompt, and that is an amazing way of starting an idea. It's something that we used to do in writing class, where our writing tutor used to give us anything from like a newspaper headline to just reading one paragraph out of a book and saying to us, right, you've got 10 minutes, write a little something about that. And at first you think like, oh God, I'm never going to be able to do that. But you do. You get into the habit of being able to kind of like conjure up an idea out of nowhere. Now, I'm not saying that this idea is going to be fantastic. I'm not saying it's going to be like the best idea ever. It might not even be very slightly good, but at least it's an idea, and at least you're writing something, am I right? Another thing that I like to do is to Google like inspiring images and write something about the first one I see that takes my fancy. That's because sometimes an image can actually like conjure up an idea for a story out of nowhere. Sometimes you just need a little bit of like visual help as well as a writing prompt or just an idea to come up. Another good one I like to do is listen to other people's conversations. Yes, I know that can be a little bit eavesdropping, a little bit creepy, but believe me, I don't mean it in the kind of like stalking people with a notebook behind them writing down everything they're saying. I'm not talking about that. One of my day jobs, even though I count writing as my real job, one of my day jobs is that I work in a shop, and one of the things that I see all the time are people coming into the shop and having the most random conversations. I had one lady come in, this little old lady, and she came in with a friend, and the first thing she said is, right, you've got to look real close, and when you see little black bits on there, you got to act, you got to strike fast, you spray it all over, and then when you look back and there's no black bits on there, that's it, gone. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Does someone have some kind of like awful disease or whatever? Turned out they were talking about their roses. But you know, you can turn anything into a potential story. You just have to be brave enough to give it a go and to let your imagination run wild. Number two, not outlining before you start. Now, I know that not everyone does this, but I believe that for a beginner, outlining your idea is very important. By planning out your story, it can help you to not only stay on track, but to figure out if the actual idea makes sense and if it's something that you can actually write and communicate to your reader. There is nothing worse than starting off with a great idea, writing away for a few days, maybe even weeks, and then realising that you just don't know where you're going with it. It doesn't actually make sense, and that the ending, if you even manage to think of one and get that far ahead, is boring and a bit of a cop-out. Plotting can help you avoid all of this. I've done a video on how I plot that might be helpful for you to go back and watch, and I'm going to do another shortly on different ways to plot, so both of them might be worth having a little look-see at. Number three, trying to write something different. Yeah, I get it. You don't have to tell me. You want to be unique, you want to stand out, and you want to bring something new and exotic to the table. I get that. I totally get that. I do. But the problem is that many others, essentially your readers, probably won't. They can't see the vision in your head. They can't understand every little detail that you do, and it will likely spoil the book for them if they actually pick it up or finish it at all. If you try to be too clever, too different, too obscure, you will put off a huge amount of people. People say they want something different, but in reality, they don't. They want something that they can relate to, something that they can feel comfortable with and understand. They need to know that they aren't wasting their money buying a book that they will never understand or enjoy. I'm not trying to be mean here, I'm just telling you the hard truth of the matter. I'm in a number of writing groups, and one thing that we always try to do is rein in the runaway newbie. We have all these ideas and all these out there strange wonderful ideas, and a lot of the time they just will not work. It doesn't matter how different you want to be, how fantastic you think your idea is. If it's too out there and it's too strange and unusual and there's nothing that your reader can relate to, they're not going to read your work. Simple as that. Please, 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 please do not be one of those people. I don't want you to be disappointed that you've spent months, maybe years on a book that is not right for your readers. Number 4, not reading enough. Yes, I know what you're thinking. This is about writing, not reading. But reading is so very important. Read everything, but especially your chosen genre. If you want to write horror, then read every horror book that you can get your grubby little mitts on. That way you can see what works and what doesn't. And by that I mean what works for you. You need to write a story that you will be excited about. One that you would want to read yourself, one that you would enjoy. If you don't know what kind of story that is, how are you going to write it? Reading also shows you the formula of a book for that genre. It will show you how it's paced, how it's constructed, what elements they all have in common, and it will give you a better understanding of what your story might need to include. On this line, I would also suggest that you take a little peeky at my video on these 7 basic plots and identify which plot your book falls into. And no, plot is not the same as genre. Okay. Also, I've got a video on story construction that you might find helpful. Number 5, having an interesting story idea but a boring character to play it out. This will never, never, never work. You could have the best idea in the world, but if the characters portraying it are as bland as plain toast, then the reader is not going to stick with it. They won't care that it's an amazing story with such a clever as fuck twist at the end. All they will see is that that main character does nothing for them. Number 6, passive voice. Okay, having a boring, droning way of writing is going to turn off a lot of readers. Nothing has to be dull, nothing has to be boring, but if your book reads more like a lecture, your readers will drop it like a hot brick. Sorry, not sorry. Number 7, never reading a book or taking a creative writing class. Now, I doubt any of you lovely lot are guilty of this because, hey, you're watching this video, so you're at least making moves to try to improve your writing, so way to go, boo! Number 8, trying to wow by overcomplicating. Let's face it, we're not all Arthur Conan Doyle here. We cannot all write Sherlock. And trying to stuff so many details into a story, unless you are a true master of your craft, will leave you with nothing but a messy alphabet soup instead of a novel. Harsh but true. Too many clues, too many red herrings, too many twists and turns. It's all just going to confuse your reader. It's all well and good wanting to deceive until the very last moment, but if your reader gets to the end, if they even make it that far, and they have no clue how that ending ever happened, you failed, my friend. You failed. You do not want your reader to feel like they have to keep flicking back to check something or to try to understand a clue that you've just tossed at them. If they have to do this over and over, they will simply give up reading. A reader wants to be immersed in your story, to see it flowing through their mind's eye, not to have to keep track of 25 characters, 30 clues and 16 red herrings. Subtle clues that are so subtle your reader will never even notice them are not worth having. The other problem with so much detailed and complicated storyline is that you have to wrap up each and every plot point you make, every hint you drop, every character you include. All of it has to make perfect sense. It's a tough ask, and to be honest, it's not really worth the bother. Number 9. Trying to get an agent or a publisher before your work is even finished. Yes, I get it. I get it. You're excited. You just know that you're the best writer in the world right now. Your idea is the best idea that's ever been brained up. You're so freaking special that an agent would jump at the chance to represent you. Yeah? No. Hate to tell you this, but you're likely very wrong about at least one of those beliefs. Agents are hard to come by and even harder to attract and actually snare. You have to show them the best of yourself. And you can't do that with a half-finished manuscript and a vague idea about where you want to go with it. You have to show them the best you can be by working your arse off to get that shit done. And finally, number 10. Not making time to write. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yeah. You want to be a writer, you have to write. But the problem comes when you don't automatically have time to do it. That is down to you. If you're serious about writing, then you're going to have to make some sacrifices, my friend. That includes not watching as much TV, not going out as much socially, not doing everything else first. Writing is important, and if you don't automatically have time, then you've got to make time. Getting into a good writing habit will help you enormously when it comes to writing. Having a dedicated amount of time each day to write is so important, even if it's just 15 minutes a day. Some words, no matter how few, are always better than no words. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Keep popping back. I upload a new video every week, and as always, if you have any questions or have a topic that you want me to cover, just ask. Until next time, blessed be and happy writing.